Welcome to 15 Minute Theatre, the only review show that squeezes a whole production into 900 seconds. The date is Tuesday the 22nd of April, and we've just seen online Fleabag open the house. Hello, Victoria.
Hola, James.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Holding up.
Day 374 of lockdown.
You're living in the Big Brother house.
It is a little bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, only there's less people in my house.
There are nice people in your house, or not nice people?
Less people, I said. Less people.
Oh, okay.
But they're, the people that are here are very nice.
Well, that's nice to hear. All right, so we've just seen Fleabag, haven't we?
We have indeed.
So I'll tell you a little bit about it, give you a bit of information.
I'd love that, thanks.
It was written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, directed by Vicky Jones and Toby Grecksmith. And it was more or less a one-woman show. It was just Phoebe Waller-Bridge on stage. And it was at the Soho Theatre in 2019. And this is one of the many plays that are out there online at the moment and in support of the NHS, which can only be a good thing, don't you reckon, Vicky?
Yeah. Though I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I gave some money to the Captain Tom Moore, which is his story has moved me greatly. You've seen that, where he's raised like £30 million for the NHS. And
yeah,
I think it's wonderful doing it, but also slightly political. If the NHS had been properly funded over the years, perhaps we wouldn't need to be raising all this money for it.
Absolutely, it's a bit of an embarrassment.
Yes. Anyway, let's carry on.
Do you think the Colonel was there, a couple of days later reading his paper after, getting all these applause and gratifications in, and then he read the news that his rival, that elderly lady, was climbing up and down stairs in her care home, the same height as Everest or something?
I've not seen this one.
Yeah.
I'll look her up.
Yeah, that our senior citizens are showing us up, I think, Vicky. I think maybe we should do something.
I don't think if I did 100 laps of my garden, it would not be impressive. I don't think anyone would give me any money.
I thought you were going to say, I'm not sure if you make it. Anyway, do you want to tell us a little bit? Tell us the synopsis, please.
Yeah, so basically, Fleabag, the play, which we've seen, became before the TV series, and it inspired the TV series. So it's based around, it's the central character who, she basically just sort of keeps cocking things up in her life, doesn't she? And it's her story of what's going on with her work, and her friends died, and her boyfriend's left her, and everything just seems to be falling apart. And it's the main character, whose name we never find out. We just call her Fleabag. And it's basically it's her just having a bit of a crisis and dealing with it in a sort of very funny way.
Yeah, it's basically Miranda on Smack, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like Miranda, and I do like Fleabag. So
I love Miranda. It's like a hardcore version, but no, I love Miranda. It's quite heartwarming. All right, so what did you think?
I feel it would have been better to see it before I'd seen the TV series.
Yeah.
Because I felt like she didn't really warm into the character initially. I felt like it took a little time for her to become the character that I recognise from the series.
Yes. I want to start with the positives. I mean, this is like the fourth or fifth one we've seen online, isn't it? And I know we've given our disclaimer saying it doesn't always transpose well to, the small screen. However, I was relieved because I did enjoy this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I felt like it just took me a little time to warm to it.
Yeah.
just because it wasn't, it was just her essentially one long monologue, wasn't it? And it was, I'm used to sort of seeing it in the series with the other characters, and obviously I have those characters in my head, and it just took me a little while to sort of accept that it wasn't a TV series.
Yeah.
But I thought she was great.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked her performance. I did find her voice a little bit monosyllabic a little bit sometimes. Just kind of the pitch of it was a little bit annoying after a while. But in fairness, she was there on her own on stage for what, an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know, is that the third person we've seen? She goes into our Hall of Fame by being a one-woman man show.
Yeah, and she was very engaging.
Yeah.
And it's a great character. And when she did her impressions of other people, I thought they were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I did laugh, and I had a real warmth for her. She was very lovable.
Yeah. And also, wow, what a talent. I mean, she's an incredibly good writer. Obviously, she's written this. She wrote Killing Eve, and I think she's busy, or well, she's just finished writing the new James Bond film, hasn't she? I think.
Yeah, I think she's incredible, and highly deserved all her plaudits. Yeah, really like her.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so staging is quite basic, wasn't it? Minimal really set, minimal stage.
Essentially, for most of the time, it was her sat on a stool and no set. The only thing was there were sound effects played sort of off stage and voices played off stage. But other than that, it was just her, solidly her. No like lighting effects, nothing.
Yeah, I think the voices did add a little something to it. I was just wondering whether it's necessary, you know, or whether she could have actually managed without the voices. But I think it added a slightly different dimension, as did the sound effects, really.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Great. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about? It's quite cut and dry, this one, I think.
Yeah, it's one thing, isn't it? It's just her on a stool basically talking. And if you love the character Fleabag and you love the show, I think you'll really enjoy it. Oh. And I think even if you hadn't watched it, you'd really enjoy it.
You know what? I think you'd enjoy it even more if you hadn't seen the TV series, because
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because it did one of those strange things. So very often, if you go and see, and I know this came first, didn't it? The play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, usually, very often, when like you go and see, like maybe the League of Gentlemen or something, it becomes their greatest hits on stage. Whereas this took a few of the jokes, but and you know, a similar, you know, the same kind of story, but it was quite a different beast, really.
I felt like it explained more things that you didn't really get in the show. Like it explained more about the death of her friend. It explained more. There was more about her mother who'd also died. I felt like you got to learn a bit more about the character.
Yeah, definitely. All right then. Well, was there a standout moment for you?
Yeah, I did write some down actually. I really liked. There were two bits. There was a bit, she met a man on a tube and she did an impression of him. He had a tiny mouth. She called him tube rodent with tiny lips. And I thought her impression of him was brilliant. Really made me laugh. And also she did an impression of her mum talking about having big boobs, saying how she couldn't see the floor and stuff. I thought that was really good. They were like my two favourite bits.
Good stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I don't think I've got really a standout moment, really, but I did enjoy it. And I, you know, really the only things I've enjoyed online recently has been that and The Wind in the Willows, which I thought was quite nice as well.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so should we take a break and come back and score it?
Do it.
All right, so before we dive into the scores, it's our new feature, Filling the Void. What have you been doing to fill your void, Vicky?
Well, this week I've been a little bit naughty.
Oh, yeah.
My void has mostly been filled with going on really long walks. I know. So I've been walking to parks that I wouldn't, because obviously, you know, we live in London. We can't just go into a field and have a little romp around.
You
So
shouldn't be going into fields anyway, even if you live in the country. It's irresponsible.
No, but if they've got a permitted footpaths, you're allowed to.
Not if my dad had anything to do with it.
No, unless you're in your dad's field, yeah. So I've been walking to parks that are a bit further away than I would normally go to.
Yeah.
So I have, done like a few really long walks.
Lovely.
That's my thing I've been doing this week. What have you been up to?
Well, I'm trying to. I've made a little chart for myself, an achievement chart. Where I'm trying to do things every day.
You're giving it stars.
Yeah, basically. But today, over the past couple of days, I've read Road by Jim Cartwright. I'm trying to read a few more plays and read some books sitting on my list. So that was very nice.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what else. We've watched a short series on Netflix. We watched Unorthodox, about a woman, based on a real life story of a woman escaping a Hasidic Jew community.
Oh wow, Unorthodox, did you say?
Unorthodox, yeah. It's quite short.
What was that on?
It's on Netflix. I think it's like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, maybe 6 episodes.
I like the shorter ones. I haven't got time for the investment anymore. All right, shall we score it then? Vicky, why don't you go first today?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, performances.
I'm going to go for a 9.
Yeah, gets a 9 from me. Staging and technical, well, look, it's quite basic, but it works, so it gets a 7 from me.
Yeah, I'd go for a 7.
Okay. Narrative and plot?
I'd go for an 8.
Okay, it gets a 9 from me. Originality, it gets an 8. I thought it was quite original, but, you know, there you go.
Yeah, I'd go 8 as well.
All right. And just the last one, was it worth it?
I mean, I'm still struggling with the fact that it makes such a difference being in the room.
Yeah.
When it happens. So I'm going to go for a 7.
Okay, and I've given it an 8. But there we go. All right, I'm just going to add these scores up, and by the miracle of editing, we'll be back in a second.
No, not long enough. No.
Hold on. All right, so sorry. Okay. All right, we're back. And I can tell you that it gets a star rating of 4. 4 stars, 4.0.
That's not bad for us not having seen it in the flesh.
Yeah. And it puts it, once again, it's always going under the process and Sunday Toxic, but only by 0.1.
But I think it is purely because I think if we'd have been there and we'd have watched it, we'd have.
Well, of course, so we have to take that into account. But you know, I mean, obviously, I think if people are listening to this podcast, they're obviously theatre lovers. But the one advantage of this epidemic is there is so much theatre out there that. So if you didn't get to see some things, it's not quite the same. But you know, go and soak this stuff up because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to what we're going to be watching next. Okay.
It's your choice, isn't it?
My choice. And
what are the options?
Well, there's quite a few. I'm not going to go through them all because I think I've just decided.
Okay.
I think I want something that I think will make you smile and me smile. We'll all smile, but it's not a comedy. We are going to be watching Miss Saigon.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I've seen it on the stage twice.
Me too.
So it'll be really interesting to see what it's like watching it on the old telly screen.
Absolutely. Well, that's a theatre bell, so I've got to run and start to watch it right now.
Okay, well, I'm going to go and eat my curry that's been sitting downstairs for 10 minutes.
Oh, lovely. All right, well, Thank you very much, Victoria. That's the theatre bell. Did I say that? I think I did.
Did you? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. Maybe it's the voices in my head. But it does mean we're out of time. So the curtain's dark. No, the curtain's down. The theatre's dark. And that was 15-minute theatre. Good night.
Good night.
If you're brave enough to have your theatre production reviewed, please contact us at 15minutetheatre@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter and please rate and review us on iTunes. Thanks for listening.